Strictly offense turning the ball over. That and penalties. In this one, both times down there, we turned over 3 times, and you're not going to beat those guys down there with the number of penalties and the turnovers. And that's all we talked about all week going into the game.
Yeah, I just threw it to the wrong guy, so I had Mike open. Cost us a game.
What is it exactly they do to give you a hard time?
Bad throws.
Sorry.
Bad throws.
Definitely frustrating, especially when it came to keeping them their drives alive with penalties. I think we had an offsides. I think we had a personal foul, something in that nature. But at the end of the day, we have to find a way to get off the football field, and it's a collective defense, and we didn't do that. So it's not by any means offense's fault.
Welcome, Bucs fans. It is Monday, Real Bucs Talk here. I'm your host, Michael Plus, joined as always my co-host, Mark Ramirez. And as you saw there, obviously the Buccaneers taking some accountability for yesterday's loss to the New Orleans Saints by the score of 36-27. The Bucs now 6-2, still in first place. I'll repeat that, still in first place, heading into the bye week. So, Mark, as we get, ready to talk about this game, just, how you doing and what's your initial thoughts of this game yesterday?
I'm doing good. I mean, we're all going to be sour after a loss. I mean, we had expectations, or majority of Buck fans had expectations that we're going to go 17-0, and it's unrealistic. Yeah. But you got to win games that are winnable and that are right there. And it sucks when we shoot ourselves in the foot. I mean, that's literally something we talk about all the time. The only team that can beat the Bucs is the Bucs, and it couldn't have been on a better display than it was on Sunday at 4:25 start. But I mean, if you look at what these guys are saying, they know it was them. They know it was Bucs beating Bucs. They take accountability. We're going to talk about Devin White's snip later, but they're not making excuses. They're pointing the finger at themselves. I do like that part of it, but there were so many areas we got to talk about where, hey guys, Brady messed up. I mean, I know there's going to be someone's, oh, you're so sour. Stop doing that. Brady's the best. He is the best, but the best still does make mistakes. And he clearly showed it body language wise. And he said, oh, what are they doing to beat me? No, it's just me. Bad throws. That's all it is. Twice bad throws. So Brady knows what he's got to fix. Defensively, they know what they got to fix. It's all on them. It's not the other team. It's simply execution and discipline. And that's one big thing BA talked about in his presser. But other than that, I'm good to talk some Buccaneer football, emotional into this. But Plus, what did you think?
Yeah, well said, Mark. And guys, if you're just joining us, this is Real Bucs Talk. We are live on Bucs Report, also the Pigskin Podcast Network. Be sure to give us that like button, hit it, hit the subscribe as well. We appreciate your support. And as Mark was saying, yeah, I mean, it was Bucs beating Bucs, and you saw that early. A lot of mistakes, a lot of mental errors, penalties, turnovers, just things that the Bucs haven't been doing over the last several weeks as they had a win streak going. They only had 1 penalty against the Bears, and yesterday they had 11. So, obviously quite the difference. And then, 3 turnovers, that doesn't help you at all. And it just sets you back and, just miss opportunities really. When you look at it from an offensive standpoint, defensively, same thing. They had chances to get off the field, couldn't do it. So you look at that, and the Saints are, a well-coached team. They're not going to beat themselves. They do a good job of playing situational football. They're a very smart team. They don't, take penalties. They try to limit their turnovers, which they have been doing. And, they made the plays when they had to. They made big plays and got it done. But overall, like I started the show, we're 6-2, still in first place. You're still in a great position. And this team hasn't been healthy all year, and hopefully you can start getting healthy going into the bye week. So that is definitely, something to look forward to, as a lot of people here in the chat are talking about. MD Appeal, always positive. He's like 6-2 and the bye week. That's what it's about. And Jim, you're right too, as well. I mean, the game was there for us to take it. And like you said, not having Gronk or Antonio Brown, batted secondary, that definitely hurt us for sure.
Here's one more take. Buccaneer Bruce over here said, I'm still very irritated that the defense laid down for Simeon. So this is one thing I kind of want to address. A lot of people are blaming Todd Bowles. They're like, "Oh, fire Todd Bowles, piece of crap. How's he going to allow this to happen? It's a backup quarterback. No way in hell they should have done this." Okay, I agree. Backup quarterback, we should not lose to a backup. I mean, we shouldn't have lost to Jameis. Clearly, he didn't even know what the hell he was doing either. He was just running around. And I told you, literally in the first quarter, this dude's going to get hurt. How the hell are you going to try and run in the middle of our defense and Devin White and Levante are running around? It's just bound to happen, and it happened. Hopefully, speedy recovery. I know it's season ending, but I mean, no one wishes anything bad on people. I mean, it was just blatant to me. Like, why would you run in the middle of our defense? It's not smart. But with that said, the defense, it is battered in the secondary. There hasn't been much consistency back there. Antoine Winfield comes back, and okay, well, things are looking good. Then there's a flag. There's another flag. Then there's a 15-yard penalty because someone's taunting. You can't keep you're beating yourself. That's the biggest thing in this show we're going to talk about. You can't do that. You can't give the other team this many opportunities because it's a hard game. If you keep giving second chances, they're going to win. And then one other point, offensively, I know you're saying we're done in by Gronk and Brown being out. Tom Brady said it best. I mean, he was the 3 turnovers. But the 2 interceptions, blatant bad throws. The fumble, you can't hold on to the ball that long. I mean, blame Wirfs if you want, but I mean, you just can't do that. And if I'm not going to be a judge one guy, not judge the other guy, this is what we do. We do analysis. Jameis Winston made a lot of bad throws. We blatantly said it. You can't do some of these things. I mean, there were things that were open, or you just got to eat it. I mean, the same crap criticism we gave to Jameis. Brady's nowhere near that. I know people are going to say you can't give them the same. Either way, it's just analysis. Take it how you will. But go ahead.
No, you're spot on. And I think the defense, they were just missing. There was a lot of opportunities to get more sacks, but that pressure was there. But the quarterback was doing a great job of getting rid of the football at the last second. Our coverage was just not in sync with our pass rush, and that's been pretty much the theme of this season for the defense. The pass rush has been putting on pressure, but the secondary is not making the coverage that needs to take place for us to get the sacks, or the pass rush is trying to get that huge play and they're letting the quarterback escape out of their grasp. So there's just little inconsistencies there that is taking place, and they have to find a way to clean that up. And obviously getting better talent in the secondary, getting more speed with Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting, that should definitely help. And also getting Richard Sherman back, 100%. We didn't even see him play yesterday, which makes sense because he was, nursing the hamstring. They had, Pierre Desir do the best he could. Jamel Dean, I thought, played pretty well. Then you look at, Ross Cockrell, and obviously he was the one that they went after, quite a bit. He had a key holding penalty, led up a touchdown as well. So there's just a lot of things that just has to be cleaned up, and it starts up front, but that back end has to be, as one. That everyone has to work together. Like we say, 11 working as one. That's really been the thing that just hasn't been there quite yet. They showed it in flashes, but now it's time to ramp it up, and hopefully we can get it more consistent going forward.
Yeah, and it's the marriage between the two, not just the offense, the defense, but the defensive line and the secondary, front seven and the secondary. They got to work together. If pass rush is there, secondary's got to hold on just a little bit so they can get there. I mean, it's everything working together. This loss will ignite the fire.
Yeah.
Better. And then penalties hurt in key situations on third down. You are 100% correct, MD Peel. And then Buccaneer Bruce, he says Devin White has gotten worse. I mean, in some sense, I'm going to say no, just because he's not clearly blatantly in the wrong spot all the time, or doing circles in the secondary. But based on Devin White, that gives us this opening to what did Devin White have to say at the end of the game. I think this is great talking points, and this is huge from the leader of your defense. Let's move over to Devin White.
Oh, it's very frustrating, man, especially when Todd Bowles is doing a great job, calling great plays. And, we just got to go out there as a unit and execute, man. You got new people out there, but, new people mean new opportunity for people, and we all just got to play with each other and be in sync. So I think that's the most frustrating thing is we had a chance, to show up and, as a unit, we did, we let it slip away. We let them drive down, whether it was on third down or a penalty or something, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we take it all together and we know it got to get fixed. We got to find a way to fix it. But I think the thing is, we understand it is not no finger point. So we take full responsibility for our actions. So that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's spot on. So, a lot of good stuff that he said there. And yeah, they got to be better. They have to be more accountable. He understands that. So, and Devin White, I think a lot of fans feel like, yeah, he's maybe not playing as well because the splash plays just haven't taken place yet. But I agree with Mark. I think he's still in the right position for the most part. There could be, at times where he tries to freelance and try to make too much of something happen. And that's just being a young player and still learning as he continues to grow in that spot. So I would expect Devin to, get better as the weeks go on here. And hopefully he can, start making those big time plays that you're, used to seeing because he made so many of them last season. And, now's the time to do that. And so we'll just have to see again, Levante David, first game back as well. So he had some rust. It looked like, from what I saw, there's some, just certain things that just need to be cleaned up. And again, all this stuff is correctable. So that's definitely a positive, heading into the bye week.
Yeah, of course. But let's actually address this question and then get started talking about the offense. This is actually a good question. So Jim's back there in the comments. He says, "Sorry, I don't mean to harp on this, but during our 8-game win streak and in the playoff push, our defense was led by our healthy secondary, true, and the magic of our offense came from Gronk and Brown." So I agree, Gronk and Brown were pretty legit. I mean, Gronk wasn't there in the Washington game. That was more Brate. But I think I'm going to add this. I don't think it was mainly Gronk and Brown. I think it was our running game that was going fantastic. Our play action game was going fantastic. And the defense, yes, truly was working well because our healthy secondary. So I fully agree with you on the defensive side. Offensively, I would add the running game to it because every time we run the ball well, we dominate games easily. So you can't get away from that. You want to add to that?
No, I think Jim's on the right track. Obviously, having a healthy defense in general is gonna, make us better. Getting your best corner always makes a difference. Carlton can, lock down one side of the field and it gives you more versatility to play matchups and really versify what you want to do defensively. Then offensively, I think it's it's a combination of things. Obviously the offensive line is playing as good as it's ever been. And, they played great yesterday. I thought when we did run the football, I thought it was for the most part pretty good. You'd like to see it utilized more, but when you get down, 23-7, it's hard to continue to run the football because you're playing against the clock and you don't have many opportunities as far as possessions. So you got to start throwing it. And they were very efficient. I mean, you look at Brady, 28 of 40, 375 yards. That's still pretty good, even with the, bad throws that he talked about. That's still a pretty good day. And you look at the run game, you had, close to, I don't know what the total of that is, but, pretty good total there for limited carries. Obviously Leonard Fournette, 3.3 average, could be better. But Rojo, only 3 carries, had a 4.3 average. So not terrible. Could be better. But again, the attempts just weren't there. And I don't think we could really run the ball in the second half just because of the way the game dictated it. So yeah, I think it's just a combination of all those things. And obviously Antonio Brown coming back and having Gronk makes your offense just better. But I mean, Tyler Johnson played fantastic. I thought he played really well, made big plays. Like to see him more utilized even more than he was yesterday. So got a lot of talent there at the receiver position. So that's a lot of fun. And I thought offensively the game plan was good. They did a lot of good things offensively. It just came down to those turnovers that really set them back.
I mean, just break it down this way. It was a close game, 7-7 here.
Mhm.
First quarter, okay. All of a sudden, we have to punt the ball. They punt the ball. We go on a good drive, fumble the ball. Who fumbled that? Tom Brady. They go down, they score. 10-7. Oh, we're going down, and interception. Whose fault's that? Brady. I'm doing this on purpose, guys, just because he's going to actually come back later in the season, make it all better. It's just funny to hear everyone get pissed off, and it's not Brady's fault. He will take the blame. Sometimes it is. They go back 17 or 16-7. They just keep capitalizing on our mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, this doesn't happen. Look at that 35-yard drive. Pathetic. 44 yards for a field goal. So you can't keep shortening the field for the other team. End of the half, and they come back, immediately score a touchdown. So, and we still came back from a 7-23 game. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. That's all it is. I mean, no fumbles, no interceptions, no blatant, especially on good drives, and you totally destroy the momentum and the good things that were going on. I don't necessarily think we even needed Gronk or Brown this game. We could have scored at will whenever we wanted to. And I was telling Plus, I still feel like we're going to win this game, even when we're down 7-23. They couldn't move the ball, Simeon. The only time they moved the ball is when our penalties happened, or I guess a taunting call. It was the only thing that kind of moved their offense. So to me, I'm not totally upset. I see the areas of needing improvement. And yeah, MDP over here. Darden was pretty flat and couldn't get anything going. Darden did well. I don't know about that. Darden had an end around. I think he's just more meaning the punt returns, but
Yeah.
I thought they utilized him well too.
Yeah, I thought he did some good things. I mean, obviously he was tripping on his feet a little bit, trying to make, too many cuts at one point. But overall there's for Guab. But he had a pretty decent game for, first legit action, did some good things. Fruquab, much appreciated, man. Thank you for checking in and always showing the love. Much appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you as always. Still, I'm missing Hawaii, my dude. Damn. Jealous. I'm always jealous. Living jealous. But MDPO kind of repeated saying return game for field position. I agree. I mean, you can't expect the Bears return like the biggest return of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints saw that. They knew they had to shut that down. Their special teams is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Jim was just go ahead.
No, they're great special teams. Again, it's a well-coached team, so they make you earn, every inch of the field. And when you have, mistakes like the Bucs did, that's really gonna magnify, and it's gonna hurt you. And obviously it did. Getting down 23-7, you make it 23-21, so you're back in the game. You eventually take the lead, and then defense had their struggles in that last drive, just couldn't get off the field, allow a field goal. And then, Brady, you think he could score, with a minute 40 left, you're feeling good about your team. You're like, oh, we're going to win. And, just again, another bad throw, had Mike Evans and, threw it to the wrong guy.
Yeah, it's still, and it was almost slow motion, the interception too. Like I saw them both crossing. And I'm like, there's only one safety over there. Wait, oh no. It's right at it. The second they cross, he even waited for the safety to come down. And oof.
Yeah.
Bad battle around. But I mean, that's what it was. Overall, the offense looked good. If there's no speed bumps by penalties, or I mean, there was even a holding call by Donovan Smith, one that ruined a drive as well. First and 20, you can't expect them to get that every time. And then just fumble turnovers. You can't do that. And it's point blank. And Brady said it best. Bad throws, cost us the game. And then Sue comes over here saying, no, penalties, no way is it the offense's fault. Our penalties are mishaps in the secondary. We got to work together, got to get healthy and move forward. I love the accountability. I'm not mad. Either way, they're a good coach team, like we said, but some things need to get fixed.
Yeah, and I forget, did the Saints did they end up getting a touchdown on the Winfield non-interception, or did they get a field goal? I forget, but obviously that was a big momentum swing in the game. And, if Winfield gets that interception, they don't score there, and maybe the Bucs do something, after that play. So that could be that's what it came down to. Again, the Saints just capitalized on their opportunities. The Bucs did not. When the Bucs made a good play, it was ruined, afterwards with a turnover or vice versa. So
Ruined. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the way- Right. But I mean, you know what? Mentioning Antoine Winfield, let's bring this up. This is the world we live in now. So everyone gets upset about everything. So plus, what do you think about old Winfield over here eating the W's on the sideline after his interception,
Mhm.
celebrating? Is that savage? Is that an
No,
a-hole?
I didn't think anything of it. Again, Jameis did it to the Bucs last year in our stadium where they destroyed us 38-3, and he did that little eating the W thing after the game with Drew Brees, and I think Antoine Winfield was just responding to that. He was doing the same thing as Jameis did to the Bucs, so I don't have any issue with it. Again, everything is overreacted in today's world, overhyped, so didn't expect anything less. People freaking out over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay if Jameis does it, but if one of the Bucs players does it, it's messed up. And then
Yeah.
Jameis is celebrating in the locker room after the game, jumping
Yeah.
around. I'm still, and this guy kind of goes to his comments before the game saying, "Oh, Saints are the powerhouse of the NFC South. They've been doing it for years.
Mhm.
You can win all the games you want in the regular season. Once it gets to the real games, the real season, in the playoffs, let's see what happens." And to be honest, the trajectory of these two teams, they just lost their starting quarterback, and we're pissed off because we lost to Jameis in the Saints. So, I mean, I know there's probably Jameis fans in here saying, "Oh, he'll come back." Well, but good. I hope he does. It's not going to be this year, clearly, but
Mhm.
what's going on with this team? I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I'm upset because I expected better, but we know it's fixable stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's time to get healthy.
Yeah, I think we all have expectations, and obviously, being on a win streak that we were on, and there's a lot of good things happening with this team. You're feeling good, obviously, coming off a 38-3 win. You feel like you're definitely a better team than the Saints at the moment, and probably should have won that game yesterday, but just didn't play our typical game. There's just way too many mistakes, and when you do that and you don't force the other team into turnovers or anything of that nature to kind of neutralize that, then it becomes what it was yesterday. And but with all that said, I mean, we're still in the game, with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. You had a chance to win it, just didn't capitalize, as that was the theme of the game. But now you move on, you go into the bye week. This team gets much needed rest. You can come back and really rejuvenize and get everything on the right place, and get your mojo going again and get on a nice win streak here.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Getting healthy. I mean, SMB hasn't been on the team since week 1.
Right.
And then Colton Davis goes down in the Eagles game, and we don't even know how long that one's going to be. People are asking how long it's going to be. Let's look at the latest, what they say. I think we'll know more when we are back, but Sean and Carlton look like they are making really good progress. Scotty Miller is also. So sounds like even Scotty, I haven't heard his name in questions at all. But if all these guys can come back, AB is a huge one, like Jim Melvin was talking about in the chat. If we can get all these guys healthy, Gronk with his back, new injury, probably because he's guarding against the rib cage issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, getting healthy is the biggest thing. I'm not worried about the one loss to the Saints. No, like Plus said in the beginning, 14-3 sounds pretty damn good. And it's very much possible. So yeah, healthy.
Yeah, no, it's when you look at the big picture, and I think that's what people, forget to look at times, especially when you come off a loss. Everyone last night were like, "Oh, the world's over. This is, it's doom and gloom." This
Were
team's
you one of those?
maybe I was last night, but I didn't put it out on social media. I kept it into myself. But it's just like, this team sucks. We're gonna, finish 6th and whatever, and not make the playoffs. We're going to lose every game from here on out. Jameis Winston is the best quarterback to live. He should have been our quarterback to begin with. You have fans out there that go to the Bucs games to cheer against the Bucs, or season ticket holders because Tom Brady's the quarterback. So it's just wild stuff. But didn't expect anything less from Bucs Nation. It's a fun fan base, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you look at this team. I would say minimum. You get 13 wins. You're 13-4. I think. Obviously the ceiling is 15-2. They could definitely run the table going into the playoffs. You look at the matchups; they're all favorable. Outside of maybe Buffalo. Buffalo probably be the toughest test. But all these games coming up are definitely winnable. We're definitely going to be favored in them. Again, things like yesterday could happen again where Bucs beat Bucs. So that's where you could see, a few losses here or there. But overall, I think we can definitely run the table or come close to it. And you're still sitting in a very good position in the NFC. And, the main thing is win your division. So if you can do that, you get a top 4 seed, and really that's what it's about. Just getting into that tournament, because anything can happen once you're in. As we saw last year, the Bucs were a 5 seed and didn't matter. So they won. They still won. Obviously you want the 1 seed to get the home field advantage, but I still like, the Bucs as one of the top teams in this league. And obviously the Rams and other teams are trying to do their best to add reinforcements, as they traded for Von Miller today. The Rams don't care about the draft. They're we're just gonna throw away picks. But yeah, it should be fun to watch him and
Yeah, I know this is a
Aaron
Bucs
Donald.
podcast, but based on what Plus is saying, Broncos trade star linebacker Von Miller to the Rams for 2 NFL draft picks. Like he said, they don't like draft picks, I guess. Look how high they were. These
Mhm.
were a second and a third, correct? Yeah, for a second and a third round pick in the 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah,
Playing for the Super Bowl. That's all you can kind of say. They're playing to host the Super Bowl in their stadium like the Bucs did last year. And they
yeah.
want to win it. That's what they're doing. Crazy.
Mhm.
Crazy. That's shooting for the moon right there.
Yeah, speaking of shooting for the moon, Fukuop's all in on the moon. He's saying 15-2. I love it. Making predictions undefeated after the bye week like last season. Definitely could happen. I mean, I can see it. And really, just got to stay healthy. You got to hope this offensive line continues to stay healthy. We had a scare yesterday with Donnie Smith going down, so hopefully he's okay. But get the secondary, back to 100%, see what this front seven can do as it continues to get healthy and get, better in sync with its coverage. Could be a lot of good things coming. And definitely you're going up against opponents that so far this year, the Bucs have really taken advantage of weaker opponents. If they're a weaker opponent, usually we dominate and get the W. So got a lot of them coming up here to start. So just got to keep it rolling and do the right things. And I am sure Tom is probably never going to have a game like he did yesterday going forward. Guy will be motivated.
I almost like his responses after a loss because you'll always remember him. He's stone cold faced, pissed off. I think Belichick rubbed a little bit onto him because holy hell, just angry. He didn't get the patented quotes and long winded answers like he's done in some of them, but
right.
Yes, angry Tom is no one to mess with.
Right.
But I do like that undefeated after the bye projection. I mean, that'd be insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also one other thing Farouk Wahb said, should have had like 7 sacks, but only came away with 1. I 100% agree with that.
That was a big.
Like, you're right there. How many times you get a hand on a body and almost come down with it? But again, it comes down to the secondary working with your front seven, your pass rush.
Yeah.
You can't allow the short pass. Desir was letting it up. Ross Cockrell, same thing. You can't allow that to happen if you're blitzing like that. You got to jump the first read, and that's something we're texting back and forth during the game. It's if they just stopped it a little bit, we dominate or pick it off. And
I mean,
I'll get it.
Yeah, they will. And and we saw it consistently yesterday. We were getting free rushers in on the quarterback, but like you said, they just weren't covering that short area of the field quick enough where the quarterback could dump it off short or hold to the last second, throw it downfield, or vice versa. So things like that just had to it's got to get cleaned up. Either that or you got to just Todd Bowles got to dial the blitz less, but Todd's not going to do that. He's very aggressive. He's going to come after you. That's just the way he plays. And, our secondary's got to get used to, like you said, jumping that first route, being a little bit more aggressive than they have been so far. I think a lot of them are worried about getting beat deep. And that's something that, they just have to adjust. If we are going to blitz, maybe have safeties somewhere, back there so they can help out some of these corners. So we can jump the routes, when it is short, something like that. They have to do that more often.
It's just playing within the system, the scheme. What Devin White said it. Todd Bowles is calling a good game. We just need to execute what he's calling.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be mad at the coach if the defense is messing up, and it's vice versa. If the players aren't doing jack shit, or if the coach is calling like a Tampa 2 on every damn play, it's coach's fault. I mean, that's why we try and give you analysis and a different view from things, but you guys keep fighting us. We're showing you what's going on. Well, I mean, we're not always right either. So, hey, it is what it is.
Right. No, I'm usually wrong all the time. So I'll tell you, like I'm wronged a lot. A lot of people on this show, they'll say, you don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, I mean,
sarcasm, right?
We gotta be better. We all have to be better. I mean, we can all be better analysts. We can all be better players, coaches, etc. People. Everything can be improved. But when you look at this team, the Bucs are very talented. I think that's what people forget yesterday. Like, this is a very talented football team. It's a very good team. So there's really no room for panic right now. I don't think you can panic. And Bruce even said that yesterday. He's like, we didn't panic going into halftime. Like, we knew we were going to come back in the game, and they did. Just didn't execute down the stretch. And, those first half errors came back to bite them in the end. And, it's a loss. But like I said in the beginning of the show, and guys, if you are enjoying the show as it's going on now, we are live. It's Real Bucs Talk, presented by Bucs Report and also the Pigskin Podcast Network. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well to help support the channel. We got a lot of videos out on our YouTube channel. Check out film studies, our live streams of the past. Obviously, we're going to try to do some more college football stuff as we get closer to draft season. So a lot of good things still to come. But let's continue going as we're here on Real Bucs Talk. Mark, obviously Tom didn't have his best game yesterday, but he did still make some really good throws. I mean, that throw to Mike Evans for the touchdown was spot on money throw. There's still a lot of good plays. Overall, the process for the offense I thought was pretty good. Mixing in some play action, screen game. Chris Godwin is still a beast. I mean, he was all over the place and really took advantage of that matchup that he had against Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I thought that was really fun, seeing him stiff arm the crap out of him. Just give me your thoughts on just the overall process of the offense. I thought there was a lot of good things.
No, offensively, we're a juggernaut. We're going to be doing this to every team. I mean, to be honest, we could have scored 40 in the second half. We probably could have scored 40.
Yeah,
and it's little dumb things, and it's crazy to think that. And it's always going to be the Buccaneers are the ones that are going to beat themselves. That's how it was all through the playoffs. We're a better team this year than we were last year. So obviously, I'm going to say the Bucs are going to beat the Bucs if someone is to beat us. I mean, Godwin, Evans, if AB and Grunt come back, like Jim Melvin says, or when they come back, you can't cover anyone. You can't. Who are you going to cover? It's just Brady picking his poison. I mean, Tyler Johnson looked like a damn all-pro in some of these routes. Like his double move, crisp, clean. I mean, I get Cyril Grayson. Congrats on your one touchdown.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I thought he was going to fall when he got it, but awesome. And then the throw to Mike Evans for his big touchdown, insane. The timing, the touch, everything about it was perfect. Little thing. Or I love the Gio Bernard setup throw the 2 tight ends blocking. Gio's wide the hell open, wide ass open. Forgive me, patented by Plus. Things like that. It just this offense can do whatever the hell they want, and they're only going to get better. And games like this, do you need to light a fire underneath Brady's ass anymore? No, it
No.
doesn't matter. He wants 10, 12 rings. It's not just 7. 7's not enough. So, I
Yeah.
mean, offensively, not worried. I think it's more good. Wake them up even more, and the defense kind of you could have dominated, but your penalties mess you up. So fix up little things.
Yeah, I think it's just the details. I think that's all that's missing from this team, and obviously getting more attrition back, more reinforcements, getting your defensive players back on the field, and hopefully we can stay healthy going forward. So just trying to bring out some of the positive guys, not trying to be all negative and doom and gloom as we continue to try to be showing the light on this show as far as what they're trying to do, how did they do it, why did they do it, stuff like that, answering the questions instead of just saying statements. It's more about finding that process. And, that's what you're going to see on this channel. But, a lot of people in the chat talking about the defense. Yeah, there was just a lot of mistakes on there. MDPL talking about, yeah, the offense played well enough. It was just, defense on penalties. But yeah, I mean, there's some good things. Obviously, the offense had their turnover, so it was all around the board. I mean, there was mistakes everywhere.
I got to bring this up, Plus.
Yeah, go
Jim
ahead.
Melton, this is hilarious.
Uh,
I've been a Buck fan since the start in 1976 when I was 19. I'm a little battered. I'm like a battered spouse. If the Bucks aren't winning by 28 plus with a minute left, I'm convinced they're going to lose. I'm not what you would consider a good fan.
Yeah, it's all good, Jim. I mean, we all kind of have some type of PTSD with this team because we've been through so much. I mean, we've seen every kind of loss that you can possibly imagine. We've seen where the Bucks are up 35-14 and they lose that game in the second half to the Colts by the greatness of Peyton Manning. We've seen where Josh Freeman is playing drunk in a game against the Jets and doesn't know where he's supposed to be. He was late to that game, and obviously there was issues. Levante David getting a penalty, and they end up winning. So it's just a lot of bad losses over the years. But now we're seeing a lot of good stuff. Being in 6-2, I don't think Bucs fans know how to react. I mean, the Bucs were 6-2 last year. People forget that. So we're still in a great position, first place in the NFC South. And obviously our team, I still think hasn't peaked yet. And I think that's what you want to see. You don't want to peak too early, and you want to peak at that right time going into the playoffs. And that's where this team's heading. So I think you just got to enjoy the ride a little bit. We're still going to be, analytical and give you that analysis, but I think it's good to, sit back and see the bigger picture as it unfolds.
So Jim, don't feel bad. We all have that same kind of mentality. Not same thing. It's just it is crazy to see greatness on display at times, but still you got to analyze it just like it was any other game. Like how good is he playing? Yeah, he makes some damn perfect throws, perfect reads, but you got to read the good and the bad. And we're going to win more than we're going to lose. Let's put it that way. With the decision maker we have, the talent we have in offense and defense, it's just putting it all together. And like Plus said, we're not peaking yet. Let us get healthy end of the season. That's when I want to be firing all cylinders. And I think it's very much possible. The offense is right there at the cusp. I'll say that. It is right there. I mean, all healthy guys, we're unbeatable on offense. But I have a big question for you, Plus. 8 plays. 8 plays. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. What is your take on that?
Yeah, it's a little strange. Obviously Coach talked about, they were having a limited package for him this week, and JPP they thought was playing well in the game. So just didn't get a lot of action. But I mean, I would like to see him in there more, especially utilize them like they did in the past, either as a QB spy or, use him as a blitzer, edge rusher, vice versa. Definitely want to see him get more snaps going forward because he has been productive when he is in there, I think, for the most part. at least making some type of impact. But I understand you have to play, Shaq and JPP their snaps, but hopefully they can find more room for him to get on the field, especially like I know Anthony Nelson probably could have done a lot better on that edge contain with the Kamara touchdown.
Yeah.
I just feel like if Joe Tryon's in that position, he has a way to find his balance and maybe run down Kamara, from getting into the end zone, maybe. But I don't know. It's a little confusing to see him in there only for 8 snaps.
I mean, utilization of players, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe just because we're not in the lead, we're coming back, we're trying to prevent them from running. So you do use Anthony Nelson, bigger runner, big run stopper, better than Joe Tryon Shrinka is. Maybe that's the deciding factor, but still, like his ability to QB spy. Maybe Jameis goes out, they don't need him as much anymore.
Right.
Need some of that. I mean, JPP is the better natural pass rusher right now. I just would like to see him be used in a lot more different formations. I mean, JPP can be pushed inside. Put all 3 of those guys in the field with Vita Vea and see what the heck happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
JPP had a great game. I mean, he
Yeah,
had
he
a lot of pass deflections, did a lot of good things in the run game. Got after the passer. He was making some things happen. But overall, yeah. Go ahead.
just missed a pass deflection too. That would have probably ended the game. It would have been 4th and 5 at the end that last final drive. So I mean, he's playing at an extremely high level, and that's with his shoulder and his broken finger. So
Yeah.
he is warranted of the positions, put it that way. But
Right.
what were you going to say before I cut you off?
No, I was just gonna say, and I didn't even bring this up, but I know someone in the chat earlier brought it up, and that's the tackling. Definitely needs to be cleaned up. It was not a very good tackling game yesterday. There's a lot of missed tackles, mainly on just what's the running back's name, Mark Ingram, and Kamara broke some tackles as well. So got to be better there. You would like to see us be better tackling. I think a lot of guys are just trying to do the strip fumbles for whatever reason, and they're letting these guys go by them. So just got to clean that up. A lot of it's just the little things like we continue to say. So hopefully that continues to be better going forward. And Jim makes a good point here. He's like, how many of the front 7 penalties came because they were trying to cover up for the secondary? Could be right there. I mean, they were trying to make some type of bigger play than just trusting their secondary maybe, but a lot of it was just close. I mean, and plus BA talked about how this ref is known for roughing the passer penalties. So, I mean, they knew that going into the game.
That's something they talked about, he said.
Yeah.
Was during the game plan throughout the whole week. Literally, this guy is known for this. Don't do this. If you're going to hit him lower, like in the stomach. Don't get near the head. Look what the hell happens, like repeatedly. And it's discipline. Like BA said, that was the one thing they're going to work on during the bye week. Discipline. One word. It ended. It was like silence for like 10 seconds after he said that.
Yeah.
Next question.
And what's funny is like Ndamukong Suh had probably the worst roughing the passer, but they didn't call it roughing the passer. Like they picked that one up, and that was probably the worst one. Like he just demolished Trevor Simeon, and they didn't call that a flag. I just thought that was funny. Like Will Golson like barely runs into the dude. Like he did it on accident, and they called that a flag. And Devin White, runs in. Obviously, it looks like he hits his helmet, but he didn't. He just swiped and missed, and they call that, So it was just funny. I thought, and Sue's reaction was priceless. But that was probably the worst hit of them all, and they don't call it a flag.
I mean,
that's a Bucs life.
We can complain about them, but at the end of the day, they're not going to change the flag. It is what it is. We kind of have to play within that rule.
Yeah.
But some of them, the taunting can't happen. The offsides, encroachments can't happen, especially in big situations. You can't say that's the front 7 trying to make up for the secondary. You have one job. Just when it says hike, then you go. You can't. There's a rule, black and white. You don't overstep the rule. So this isn't a guideline. So it can't be blamed on the secondary. So I mean, that's front seven's good. Just do your job, and you're going to be where you need to be at the end of the game.
Yeah,
So-
no, I agree. I mean, looks like we got some, some of the fans of the other teams in here, so that's pretty cool. Looks like Burner here is watching the Giants and the Chiefs, so it's interesting.
Yeah. So I mean,
Take him. Oh, and Ndamukong Suh over Joe McCoy. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Suh's obviously a more complete player. McCoy's issue, during his time here, is he liked to freelance, and it costs players around him, and that's why you would see McCoy so inconsistently make plays. When he freelanced and it worked, it was a splash play. When it didn't, big things happened to our defense.
before we get near the end, plus we got something to talk about.
Yes.
I didn't on last time. You got to give me your sell, your pitch.
Yes.
Start
Yeah.
cutting the grass.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about football, but we got to talk about the balls that count. And that is
Sure.
the balls that you need to make sure are in great shape for your significant other, wife, etc. And that's Manscaped, the lawn mower 4.0. Be sure to check out manscaped.com to get you this item because it's amazing. Me and Mark have it. It's great. It comes with everything you need as far as, obviously the trimmer with the light, and it's just a lot, very easy to use. You can use it in the shower. You can use it pretty much wherever. It comes with a travel kit. So it's really great. And if you go to manscaped.com, type in that promo code RealBucksTalk, you get 20% off. And it's just a fantastic product. So be sure to check that out. Manscaped is doing great things at their site, and you would have your balls looking great. And that's what you want to do all the time.
And the ball don't lie. That's what it is. Right. And mine don't lie right now. I'll say that. Let's actually give a quick look over to what's coming up the rest of the season.
Yes.
So is it realistic to say that 14-3? We kind of touched on it earlier, but let's go over it in depth. Washington, yeah. What's going on at quarterback there? Same kind of situation. Defense is great. Can their offense put up with ours? Highly doubtful. The Giants are somewhat in the game against the Chiefs.
Yeah, Giants could be a tough one. They've always given us, some issues in the past. Obviously, they have a very good defense. I think that's something that goes underrated for them. They find ways to, slow down good offenses. It's just their offense is inconsistent because of the quarterback, and their injuries continue to hurt them. You look at the Colts. The Colts are playing tough right now, so that could be a good matchup. They just played well against the Tennessee Titans. Lost a close one there. The Falcons could be interesting, but I think, obviously we're the better team there. And then the Buffalo matchup, probably going to be a really good game. Could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. You never know. So the Bills have been playing well with Josh Allen. Then the Saints, obviously, that's going to be circled as a rematch, and should get our I think we'll get them back at home here in Tampa. And then you look at the Panthers.
Kyle Trask will play that game, or at least Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert should get in.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets in a lot of these games. You look at obviously the last 3 weeks there with the Panthers, Jets, and Panthers. Those should be wins and should be favorable matchups for the Bucs. So it's a very awesome schedule here for the second half for the Buccaneers. Again, a lot of these teams are around 500 or below 500, and you got to take advantage of those matchups. So really good opportunity for the Bucs to make a run here as they get into the playoffs.
If I were to give any comments on these games, I would say the only reason why this is worrisome, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
For some reason, primetime games, night games, I don't know what the hell happens. They just are different unless it becomes the playoffs. But I just clean it up, fix it. Colts, good defense. Still think we got to pull it out. We already touched on the Bills. This should be a slaughterhouse this next game. Don't count these two guys, the Panthers games.
Mm.
They're very, obviously their defense started off in crazy. The Jets have a good defense, pass rush ability. It's just they can't score. But I'm just more scared of these Panthers defense causing injuries. We don't need that at the end of the season, especially when they don't have anything to play for, and they're just going to be playing for getting better.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. again. Yeah, I mean it's week to week league. We always say that, and Sunday anything can happen. So yeah, I mean these games have potential to be close, and obviously a lot of these teams are going to try to play their best against us because everyone wants to bring down the champ. So it's really going to be key for the Buccaneers to really focus on what's important and what's those little details. That's going to have to become better. The discipline, the mental errors have to go away, and this team needs to start playing with their identity and playing good Buccaneer football like they can. And obviously, getting certain guys back, that's going to help us going forward. So I'm really excited to see the second half and see what this team can do. And obviously, there's going to be some adjustments made from the coaching, and see little wrinkles here and there. I think is something to look forward to. And I haven't talked about this enough, but I love what the Bucs are doing in the run game. I think they finally figured it out how to run the football the right way, and mixing up their schemes, using outside zone, using various run formations. I think is really good.
I agree with you. It's just staying consistent with it. That's the thing where they didn't really do it. Yeah, because you got down early. A lot of that was self-inflicted. So a lot of this goes together. It's not
Mm.
like it's one individual's fault. There's a lot of combination. And I love that, like we showed in the beginning, all of them took accountability. It wasn't just one side of the team's fault. It wasn't just like a few years back, Jameis throwing all the interceptions. Oh, it's his fault. No, it's the defense shouldn't have allowed 30-something points. So, I mean, they both know, they're both taking accountability. No one's pointing fingers. I love that part of what's going on with this team. And hey, let's keep growing together, and we're going to keep getting more wins. Hopefully we can get that undefeated streak after the bye. We'll see, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. Don't be too upset and down. I mean, we're still 6-2, like Plus said, first in the division. And I'm pretty sure we're going to hold that spot all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a great ride to these last 9 games that are left. The NFC is a loaded conference. There's a lot of good teams. Obviously, it's top heavy. So the Rams, Packers, all these teams are right there in the mix. The Bucs, everyone has a great opportunity to make something happen in these playoffs. So it's going to be really fun to see how it all plays out. But guys, thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the comments, all the questions, all the newcomers. Good to see new people in here. Jim Melvin, I think it's the first time seeing you in here, so that's awesome. Andrew, always appreciate the $5 super sticker. That's awesome. Thank you. But again, this is Real Bucs Talk. We are live on Bucs Report, the Pigskin Podcast Network. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Mark, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I just want to show my appreciation for all of you guys. Thank you so much. Like, you guys make the show. You guys bring up the comments and your hot takes and what you're feeling, the vibe of the team is. We're just trying to give our opinion to kind of gel with yours for a better hypothesis of what's going on. I mean, we break it down all the time, looking at the film just to help you guys and help ourselves. I mean, just to be better Buck fans and understand what's going on with this team. So realistically, like I said, don't worry. Everything's all right. Just relax. They're going to learn from this and only improve. And I cannot wait for what that's going to look like. Other than that, just thank you guys.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much. I will try to grow my beard. I'll try to let it grow out. I won't cut it until the Bucs are in the Super Bowl, hopefully. Also, it's good to see you, Ruth, in here as well. Ruth the Truth. Be sure to check out her great stuff. She was at the game yesterday, so that's awesome. Really good. Mark starting to play off beard. I doubt it. I don't think he grows facial hair. When he does, he just looks weird. So weird with his facial hair. So yeah, I doubt the wife lets him do that.
I tried it for the wife and then she hated it. So I was like, okay, now.
Yeah. So there we go. All right. With that said, guys, we're going to head on out of here. Much appreciated for all the support. With that said, until the next one, go Bucs. See you on the next Monday.
Go Bucks.